And well, Cedar Park Warlords in the red and the black, and the Rhino Academy in the yellow and green. See some good ball movement early. A little bit of miscommunication, some poor ball handling skills, but they recover nicely, Rhino. Got some space out wide, trying to penetrate in the middle. Play has been stopped. We got a yellow card, Cedar Park. Now he'll come off for about 2 minutes. Rhino keeps the ball. Let's see how they take advantage of this this player down for Cedar Park.
And Rhino certainly takes advantage there with the Tribe going with the extra man up. That provides them a lot of extra space on the field to go. So Rhino wearing the yellow, another one of our academy teams out of California, a wide contingent here. So we saw their U14s play earlier. We have U18 Open. We also have a U18 Elite team, and they have U18 Elite girls here in the tournament. We also have a U16 bracket for boys that was meant to be taking place. Only one team had entered, so they bumped them up to the U18 Open as well. So we saw U16s, but those boys from that one team will get a chance to play some to play up.
Some good experience. Bloody your nose a little bit.
Hopefully no bloody noses here, although they do have the medical staff out here.
Proverbially speaking.
Yeah, they've got fantastic physios and trainers. A lot of these teams traveling with their own trainers as well, especially the ones fielding multiple sides, making sure that they can get all their tape done, you know, for all those pregame rituals. We often see these players tape up their wrists and write, you know, Bible verses or family members' names or just what their inspiration may be. So something to kind of look for as we see some of these players scoring tries, you know, taking after all these players on the international circuit and then their different moments. I'm looking for the Kurt Baker of New Zealand, 2 thumbs up after a try scoring. Haven't seen it yet today. So any of the players playing in the tournament that are getting on the field, I want to see that 2 thumbs up try score. Maybe some dabbing.
Some dabbing. Is that dead yet? I thought that died.
I think it's never dead. ask the Carolina Panthers. Wasn't that their big thing? Cam Newton and everyone. So. Of course, we can always encourage like the minimalistic other Tribe of, you know, scoring celebrations. The one thing about rugby, we don't have that big showy gamesmanship that Terrell Owens might have had playing football. So we see the Cedar Park team out of Texas wearing the black and the red. They are a team that draws the majority from one single school, but they do have 3 other players from other schools. They've been out here training a little bit early. Fun fact, their player Colton, who I believe is not on the field at the moment, but Colton is the nephew of our tournament director, Mike Kressler. So that was their involvement in the tournament here, coming to play good rugby. They just started this spring. They have been playing all together for 6 months, but great support. The school that the majority of the boys come from is the Founders Classical Academy of Leander. So they've got a coaching staff of 4 coaches. We might need to get them to field a coach's team here.
Yeah, you know, I'd be all over that.
And this is their speedster, this number 15. When I was at their training the other night, he was wearing a bright neon orange tank top, and he backed it up with his speed and his finishing. He has scored the majority of their points this year. They mentioned that they are 11-1 in their 7s games. They've also been playing a little bit on a bit of a Texas circuit, and in their 7s game, they've outscored their opponents 256-62. Wow. So a large reason for it is this number 15 from this this Warlords team, and that's George Tavares. Some other speedsters here are Colton Kep, who we saw on the field. Basil Inman is their captain. And they got, there's one other super fast player I recall, so we'll see when he scores. I'll remember what he was wearing the other night at training.
You know, it's interesting to see the combination of power and speed with the Cedar Park team. Number 5, I believe that's Blake Ratliff, actually. Yeah, he'll penetrate often in the middle, and he's also kicking. Look at that. Fantastic. And it's fun to see him penetrate hard and muscle through the middle, opening up a lot of space in the wings for these speedsters.
Yep, and this is a team that benefited from training when we were in on Wednesday night. There were 7 teams all at the same field, so we had Atavis boys and girls, I should say. We had the Cedar Park Warlords. We had the Utah Barbarians women. We had the Utah Lions women. The Utah Lions men with their 2 teams as well. So these teams, Atavis, Cedar Park, and Utah with their two boys teams, scrimmaged each other at the end, playing different variations on the touch game, so they were able to emphasize different aspects of the sevens game, playing no touch, playing 2 touch, playing different styles. So you know, whether they wanted to offload, keep the ball alive, or whether they could use that hard charging style, depending on what the coaches established each game was going to be. The girls did the same. So the Utah Lions women scrimmaged against Atavis, and it was great seeing the collaboration because you had 7 teams that some of these teams, the players didn't even know each other. And then these teams coming together and not knowing each other because you had a team that's Washington-based and a team that's Texas-based and, of course, Utah-based, too. Just showing the nature of the sport of rugby here, and these coaches, too, you know, just doing a fantastic job. So this Rhino team has a large coaching staff. I was talking with their director, Derek, earlier. He gave me a list of names. Perhaps one of their best-known coaches is Elvis Seviali. Elvis, a couch player for Samoa. He's based in Las Vegas. He's done coaching with his Rhino Academy there, and also coached with James Madison University when they had their run to sevens last year at the Denver USA National Championships for college sevens, too. So you'll see him kind of all over the country, wherever rugby's propping up.
Yeah, and it's good to see these 2 teams. Right now, the level 5-5. I mean, it'll be a really fun match. They're very equally matched, I feel, speed, power, and pace. We'll see how the discipline and the patience pays off for the victor.
And this is Cedar Park getting out to their speedster again, that number 15, George Tavares. So he's a player to watch for this tournament. Again, breaking down the sideline, and a great tackle from behind, cover tackle by this Rhino side. So now we know that they're going to wear all these different jerseys. They've got the yellow on their boys open. We saw them in black earlier. We have yet to see. Their girls team is wearing a combination of blue
You're right,
and
they
green.
are the Oregon Ducks, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, and they've got the neon yellow socks to go with that Oregon Ducks football theme. So a good break up the sideline. Love that tackle from behind from these Rhino players.
Yeah, we talked about Carla Niles earlier today and some other matches, but I think this George Tavares wing here, he looks a lot like Perry Baker. He's tall, very fast, long stride, really quick. Gets to the outside easily.
Yep, and for all these boys from the Cedar Park team for playing for just 6 months, they also let us know too that this academy, the Founders Academy that they're all at, actually only has 50 students per grade, boys and girls in the school. So they're not drawing from a big population either. So to embrace the sport of rugby so quickly, you know, gathering some help from the greater Austin area. They mentioned they've done some training sessions with the Blacks.
In the water?
Don't mess with Texas. They're probably just drinking straight barbecue sauce.
It must be. Oh, and he loses the ball forward on a good tackle there, but they had a good break, good opportunity, and that will end the first half.
It's going into a halftime with equal tries here between the Rhinos Academy and the Cedar Park Warlords. Kicking off the first action here on Field 1 in the boys U18 Open. And we'll take a minute here at halftime and see what other intel and information we can gather from these coaches.
I am your fortress on the front line of sport. Engineered to be stronger than the attack. I defy convention by protecting more with less. Helping you breathe easier, hydrate faster, speak more clearly. I am Sisu, and I fend for you.
We're back in the second half of action. The Rhino Rugby Academy in yellow leading Cedar Park in black, 7-5 the score, with Rhino kicking off to Cedar Park. Worth noting here that this Rhino Academy, this is the boys U18 open side, has 9 players rostered. So these 9 players are going to be playing a lot of rugby, and this is going to really test their endurance and just their skills. How are they going to be able to adapt their game as the days goes on, especially playing against so many different teams? Here you have a California-based team in Rhino playing against a Texas-based team. This Texas team playing together all the time, but look at this. It's no issue for Rhino as they open up the second half exactly how you want it. Kicking off, getting the ball, scoring under the post. Fantastic work here by this Rhino team. They're going to take a 12-5 lead pending the kick. And so the nice thing with these new Sevens law variations that they are allowed to make any 5-player changes. So when you carry just a roster of 9, which happened to Samoa when they went to Vancouver Sevens with the men, they had a few players suffer injuries, a couple illnesses, and there was a death in the family of one of the players, so they were down to 9. That was when they made a nice little run and won the plate final against our USA Eagles in Vancouver. But having 9 players means that they can make any 5 changes. They could bring players off and put them back on again. We'll see if this Rhino team uses that strategy as the day goes on, because being that short compared to a team that has 12 and has 5 substitutes and has a lot of fresh legs and depth to their roster, it's going to be an interesting strategy to see as the tournament goes on.
Right, exactly. And it's interesting to say that they have 9 roster players. I'm really interested to see what the strategy is in order to rest those legs for the rest of the tournament. I mean, maybe the strategy might be let's score as many as we can in the first half and kind of let off in the second half. I don't know.
I think it's one of those things where in the game of sevens, you try to possess the ball. It's a lot easier to play offense and defense, especially because we don't have that sense of urgency to go forward. You're looking for those holes. You're looking to play patient. You see some coaches just very basically explain it as playing a big game of keep away. Right now, this is Basil Inman with Cedar Park with the ball. That's their number 8 and team captain, looking for someone to offload to. And he finds his man, number 16 up the middle. Rhino taking a while on the tackle. We talk about when we're making sevens tackles, we want to get them to the ground yesterday. The faster to the ground, the better chance you have of getting that poach or a jackal on the ball, really looking to get possession of the ball. So as long as the tackler releases the tackled player, they're allowed to make a play on the ball as long as there's no ruck formed. And if sevens can go quickly and you get those quick tackles, you're not going to allow the ruck situation as much as a slow tackle would, and then be able to have a play for that turnover. We see a lot of turnover balls result in tries. So whether it's a turnover off the ruck or a turnover in the form of a penalty or turning over a scrum, and other set pieces too, the good teams will take advantage of those opportunities to have that transition where the defense is not quite set up.
Right, but you got to be really aware. You got to be astute of that situation. I mean, in 15s, you can kind of dial down a little bit. In sevens, you've got to be completely aware of your surroundings at all times, every second, because a drop of the ball or a knock on or a forward pass, at any moment that ref will give you that advantage, and you've got to take advantage of it right then and right there, or otherwise you lose it.
So here we see just a single man lift there on the lineout from Cedar Park. Some good strength on their team there.
Good high ball.
And they had that tall, lanky jumper there, so he did a good job to retain it. Kicking downfield, so they're looking at a strategy that they're trying to put some pressure, make Rhino do something here. Right now, Rhino with the long pass, bouncing on the ground, but still cool, calm, and collected. And look at this counter, doing quite well.
Wow, talk about rhinos, that's awesome.
Looked a little bit more like a gazelle there.
Touche, touche.
We talked about that fantastic Utah Zoo earlier, so it's fresh on the brain.
Yeah, Rhino with a great counter try.
Yeah, so countering off that kick, we talk about you want to maintain possession in sevens. They were trying to, create a little bit of pressure on Rhino, getting the ball downfield because Cedar Park was inside of their own 22. So trying to buy a little bit of space and time. We know that Cedar Park has some speedsters in the form of George Tavares and Colton Cup, but didn't quite pay off. Rhino able to move the ball, and that's one of the things I love is when you see teams receive the ball and move the ball to space. So unlike football kick returners that are just holding on and running and just getting tackled, they're getting the ball to space to someone that's in a better position to make that play going forward. Pays off for Rhino as they take it back 50 meters, scoring the try under the post, and that's going to put them up at a 19-5 lead. Sitting about halfway through the second half, and again, both teams making use of their subs. We had a substituted player coming on for Cedar Park in the scrum cap there. So that is their number 1, Elliot Burgess. Rhino going to their bench, bringing on players, subbing them on and off again too. We see their kickoffs, this number 3 for Rhino that's been lining up, and he's in motion every time, almost like those CFL players when they're on their kickoffs. Their receiver's already in motion. So really looking to try to put pressure on the ball. If he's not going to catch it immediately off his home team's kickoff, he's going to make the tackle. So here they're putting good defensive pressure on Cedar Park, and here's a turnover here. The ball kind of thrown forward in the tackle. Rhino coming away with the ball. They've got the big man on the outside. There's that number 3. I think he wants a try.
Yeah, look at that workhorse.
And look at that offload behind the back.
In
That was
contact.
a Dallin Stanford behind the pack pass. If you guys ever listen to Dallin Stanford known as Packy in his
the excellent
commentary,
reach.
he does a few of those here and there, and that was a great try by Rhino. So forcing the turnover with the tackle. The big man number 3 down the sideline there, but
That
offloading
was
the
Danny
ball.
Barrett-esque right there. That was Danny Barrett-esque. Absolutely. Great work, great effort all around, great offload and contact. That was fantastic.
It was, and they get the try into the post. So we're talking about the importance of point differential too. So if these teams end up with similar records, when it comes into the quarterfinals tomorrow, we have 11 teams in the elite. The boys open, I believe, is another one of these 7 teams round robins. So they're going to play every team in the tournament. They're going to get 6 games in. The number 1 and number 2 teams will advance to a championship game tomorrow afternoon. So if teams both ended up, say, 5-1, 4-2, these tries scored and point differentials will make the difference. So they're looking to score under the post. It's a game of rugby, unlike the game of football. You kick from where the try is scored. You can pull it back as far as you want, but if he scores on the sideline, that kicker has to kick from the sideline. So it's not as easy for these kickers in the sport of rugby. So what we saw here is a kickoff from Rhino. Didn't go 10 meters on the kick, so that gives the ball to Cedar Park with a free kick. And this is Captain Basil Inman. He's taking the quick tap in the middle, breaks to about 10 meters from the goal line, a little bit unsupported there. So he was fast on his reaction time. The rest of the team not quite there. Ball turned over to Rhino, and they've got the hands to the left side of the field. But Cedar Park covering well with defense. They're shifting over, but look at them playing some running rugby. Great offloads from this Rhino rugby side. We see them take the corner and in for yet another try. So now he can ease up. He's going to try to center the ball to get that more favorable kick, but he doesn't need to sprint to the middle because he was uncovered on defense. So Rhino really pouring it out in the second half. Maybe that's their strategy.
Yeah, that's
They're
what I'm
going to
thinking.
use their 2 subs and keep those fresh legs for the second half to really pour it out. See how the game unfolds and what they need to do. We'll have to check in with their coaches, and that's going to be the game. You see 31-5 Rhino over Cedar Park.